it's about the next best thing that I can get to actually being in Japan. In terms of how I feel like my Japanese has improved over the past few months as I've been continuing to listen to podcasts or watch anime, I feel like I'm progressively able to understand more and more. So that's been really cool.
Before starting this program, where were you in your Japanese learning journey?
Let's see. So I had studied in school, graduated a few years ago from college, and so I did classes there. And I kind of like went up and down with self-study since graduating, I guess. I think in the past year, I decided I wanted to push myself more and find something that worked to try this app, Pimsleur. So I'm plugging another app, but that actually was great because it had me doing more output, which I feel like I was lacking in because there was someone around me speaking Japanese. And honestly, I was a little bit nervous to like find a speaking partner online. I had tried some one-on-one tutoring and then another program that offered like group classes. But I actually feel like Pimsleur was the first thing that I found where like the price was reasonable and I was getting more speaking and pronunciation practice that I could keep up consistently. So I went to Japan for the first time last year, and I had more of a desire to put myself out there just and be go with the spirit of just go make mistakes, try to talk to people.
Right.
And I had actually found one of your videos right before the trip.
Great.
And you were like, if, first however many signups, get a discount. I was like, I want that discount. But I'm literally going to Japan in like 3 days or whatever. So I think I was in a space of I want to keep up, my momentum with learning Japanese. And I'm still trying to find the platform where I feel like I'm able to make consistent progress, making more output beyond the baseline that Pimsleur had given me.
You said you tried a private tutor, you tried a group lesson, and then you've been with Thrive now for 3 or 4 months?
Yeah.
So could you compare your experiences?
So I tried a few private tutors through like Preply and Italki, I think. And they were good, but one challenge was just scheduling. I feel like because I was paying per lesson, there was just that mental like, okay, I need to go and pay for this thing again. Decide like which package do I want, because usually tutors offer different packages, and so that's just like another small step of friction between wanting to do a lesson and actually getting to the lesson. So that was a little difficult, and I felt like I struggled somewhat with finding the right fit in terms of tutor because there are just so many.
Tons, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah. And all that decision fatigue kind of added up. So that was a struggle. And also, I feel like I never found someone who they did tailor lessons to me to a degree, but it was a lot of, maybe we'll have a small conversation, but then let's look at a textbook together.
Right.
So it's not to say I wasn't learning stuff, but it just wasn't compelling enough for me to keep going. Moving on to the group lessons, this was through Varsity Tutors, I believe. They had a great deal, low for the low price of whatever. You could take group lessons. The struggle there was the classes, were on a certain basis. So if you couldn't attend, that was, you're out of luck there. And also there were different levels. So there might be a time that you thought worked for you, like, oh, I can take this Japanese class, but then you realize it's not the level of Japanese that you're at. So I did finally find one that I thought like was a decent fit for me that I could attend. But at the first class, my struggle was, I had gone through classes in college, and so in some ways I felt ahead of my classmates, and in some ways I still felt like my foundation was shaky. And so it was this weird tension of some of this lesson is like not useless to me, but it feels kind of like a waste of time.
Right.
And I'm also not targeting the areas that like I'm struggling with. And it's just kind of going around the virtual classroom, having people answer like one at a time, our homework questions essentially. So after one or two classes, I canceled that because it did not feel worth the time. Like it was cheap, and it was good quality classes for a certain type of student, I think, but it was not going to be worth my time. I thought I could get a lot farther with self-studying. And yeah, like I mentioned, then I did Pimsleur, and I felt like that was actually getting me farther than those other avenues that I had tried. And it was just the question of, okay, what comes after I finish level 5 of Pimsleur? What happens after those 5 months?
Right. You had different experiences with lessons, and then you came to Thrive. And then for people who don't know, I think we have an interesting system, because although sometimes you get private lessons like this, the lessons are actually open. Other people can join your lesson, up to 4 people. So sometimes it's private, sometimes you get a small group. It's intentional, but how has been your experience with both your private lessons as well as when other people join, or it's like a small group lesson?
Yeah. Truthfully, I was skeptical at first of the small group lessons because private lessons seem like the gold star, upper echelon of learning, getting that one-on-one time. But to call back to previous group classes that I had tried, I was I am gonna compliment you.
Okay, sweet.
I love Thrive in Japan's model because, and I wasn't expecting. I was so pleasantly surprised because in the small group lessons, it doesn't matter what level we all are at. Like I remember doing a lesson with 3 of us, I think for the first time, 3 students, and we were all at different levels, and we were all able to participate in the same activity together, and we were speaking, to each other, with each other, and we were all integrated into it. And that was just so amazing to me. It kind of blew my mind that there wasn't, a disconnect in that way. If we have 3 people, I love it, the group lessons for that reason. And then if we have 2 people, I really like that we're able to interview each other and practice stretching our conversations, farther and farther, and see, how complex can we go, and then scale back if we need to, and then try and push a little more, and then switch who's interviewing, who's asking the questions. I feel like I always got a lot out of those dialogues. And then, of course, the one-on-one private tutoring of private classes, those are also fantastic. I always, after a long day of work, truthfully, sometimes I'm like, oh, do I really want to be on the computer more, should I feign that I'm sick? But I always end up feeling so giddy afterwards, and just really feel like I had so much fun. Thrive has been the best thing that I have found, and it's like the thing that I've been searching for. Like it's not just that it's like the best thing, it's like the thing that I've been searching for. Um it's I'm getting the lessons where I'm getting input and output, and that's to say nothing of the written content. Even though I have been studying Japanese for several years at this point, going through the foundation courses, I've been filling in those gaps that I mentioned earlier, slowly but surely, I think. And also, saying all that makes me think about the first video that I saw of yours, where you were talking about Japanese culture and like what people get wrong about it, and having that the paradigm shift in approaching the language. And when I saw that, I was like, that's what I want. And I love that you emphasize that in all of the lessons. And I love that over the past few months, we have done casual, we've done, teine, polite Japanese, we've done keigo, and we've gone back and forth sometimes in the same lesson. And so I feel like, I love that none of those muscles are being neglected for me. I feel like it's about the best next best thing that I can get to actually being in Japan. In terms of how I feel like my Japanese has improved, I feel like over the past few months, as I've been, continuing to listen to podcasts or watch anime, I feel like I'm progressively able to understand more and more. So that's been really cool.
Is there anyone, like a specific person, you would recommend to this program to?
I think if you know in your heart that you want to learn Japanese, maybe like me, you've had some logistical struggles with other platforms, or you don't feel like anything has been the right fit, then I think you should totally give it a shot. Definitely at least do the free trial. If you know that you're someone who wants to learn Japanese, and just doing textbooks, just doing, YouTube videos has not scratched that itch yet, I think that this is for you.